Okay. Dude, thanks for coming, man.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Been wanting to get different kinds of people in here to be able to like just chat it up, talk to me, and kind of expand on different things, about life, views. Always open to like how people see things. I think like when I was younger, I would always think there's this one set of way that I was like taught by, my mom, how you're raised, and then, oh, this is the right way, this is the only way. You know what I'm saying? And then you get to like start thinking like for yourself, and then you get to make your own judgment. And then I see all this. And then now we're on Ep.3 and it's crazy already, man. Like It's so crazy.
It is crazy, man. Like I said, I'm proud of you, dude. I think I've known you 4 years now. And from
Something
where you
like
started
that.
to where you're at now, it's been amazing to see you grow the way you have, dude.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. But to talk back more on what you were saying, like, because I grew up down south in Louisiana. So, I grew up thinking a certain type of way. But I left and went to the military, and that I've had a lot of culture shocks. I've got to meet a lot of people and communicate with, people that I never would have had if I would have never joined the military. So I've gotten to see different views and kind of, grow through that in my life.
How long have you been living in Louisiana?
I was born and raised there. I left when I was 19.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because of the military?
Yeah, I joined the military and was from there. I never went back. I mean, I visited, but I've never lived there.
Yeah.
I've been bounced around Georgia for training, stationed in Oklahoma for a few years, my deployment. Then 2014, I moved to Vegas and been here since.
Nice. So where is that deployment at?
I was in Kuwait.
Kuwait. I think I asked you this before we started recording. I'm like, okay, where is Kuwait on the map?
Look it up.
Okay, so what was your flight time going from Oklahoma?
Okay, so it was when we left, there was a few different flights, but a total of about, if I'm not mistaken, 20 hours of flight time or so, like that. Because I know when I flew back home on leave, it was a straight flight from there to a spot in the States, and it was 19 hours or so in the air.
Oh, okay. Dang, that's a long flight. I see it right here on this map. It's kind of by Africa-ish. Yeah, so I see that. Dang, that is far, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you've learned, so is it Arabic? That's the main language over there?
Yeah, they speak some form of, I'm not even sure. I'm not sure anymore.
Yeah.
That's something I haven't thought about in a long time.
Because it's been years.
It's been years.
It's been years since you've been there.
Yeah, that's not something I think about much anymore.
Yeah.
Not that it was, all bad. It's just that's neither here nor there at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, so I see that. So, okay, you're military, right? Veteran, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're also...
Respiratory therapist.
Yeah. Oh, nice. There you go. Both of us are respiratory therapists. If you haven't heard what a respiratory therapist is by now, we handle everything when it comes to cardiopulmonary within the body. Any life support ventilators. We handle all that. We assist in intubations. We do breathing treatments for people with asthma. We deal with patients with COPD, all that stuff. So everything that's like comes with again, cardiopulmonary. So we do like EKGs as well. We get the heart rhythm. So that's just kind of a lowdown, just to kind of explain a little bit of what we do, right?
That's actually how we met. We met in respiratory school.
Yeah.
It was an English class or whatever.
English class, yeah. One of those the prerequisite classes.
Yeah, we were
one of those.
Yeah. Yeah, we kind of got close, We had a pretty good class, too. We had a lot of characters, though.
Yeah, and that was like in the beginning, like first semester, kind of like branching into the second semester. So there's 6 semesters in our respiratory program that we were in. So it was like in first semester, right? So we had a lot of students there, and then like towards the end, they kind of like start, weeding out depending on
life. We'll just say
life
happens.
They pull out of the course, they fail the course, whatever it is. So yeah, there were so many characters in that class, but that's how we met, right?
Yeah. A lot of tireless nights working on projects and trying to figure out problems that they gave us and all that. It was an awesome experience. Comparing that to basic training, what I'm saying, that was probably I put that above the experience I had in basic training. It was awesome, don't get me wrong, but yeah, definitely learning what I learned to get into the medical field was high up on my, accomplishment list, I'll say.
Yeah. And so what I've noticed, like working with you through those 6 semesters, right? I noticed you're really good at math. Math. Okay. I mean, I'll be the first to admit it. I would ask you for help on all the math portions all the time.
Oh yeah.
Right. It's just something that doesn't naturally or just kind of instantly click with me. Other things do, and that's what's crazy, like everybody's mind functions kind of in a different way, and so.
Well, I think we made a good team because we were kind of like opposites. I was good at math. You were really good at, so we had to write a lot of papers. You were good at writing papers and the English side of it, plus your knowledge level. Like you're pretty good. I remember at one point you were like making A's, all throughout the course, and I was like, dang, I can't even keep up with you no more, bro.
That was just in the beginning, though. No, but that was me saying I can't keep up with you guys anymore, because in the beginning it would be like, okay, cool, I know these things because I was coming from CSN, from a community college, and I've had these prereqs, these courses, and like touched up on the subjects basically already.
Yeah.
And, I think 23, like 22, 23 at the time. Mm-hmm. And so I was coming like not too far from high school already. So like I already had this, like, okay, I went over these topics already. It's still kind of fresh in the head, like 2, 3 years, 4 years. And, like other of our classmates, like 40 years old, they haven't done that in so long, like not even maybe like helping their kids in their homework, but that's pretty much it. I mean, so I was that, and then I was trying to catch up to you guys. And that, going back to that, math was something that like wasn't clicking with me, and I just remember being like scared that I was gonna fail and that I was gonna be behind, and like everybody would, obviously they would know because I wouldn't be in the next class because I would fail. And so it motivated me. Our group of, I think 12 graduated, right?
Yeah.
All together. And that was like really like such a smart group. I felt like I was behind and I was trying to play catch up all the time, but that's kind of like what motivated me and pushed me to be like, okay, like I have to read, I have to do this. Like I'm not a person, like I don't have the photographic memory. Like with choreography and like learning a dance piece is kind of different, and how it functions opposed to like reading it off a book, or in our case, an iPad, right? And they didn't give it to us. It was part of our tuition. But anyway, so we're reading off of that and doing off that, and I was just so scared that I was gonna fail.
I recall I used to have to talk to you like, yo, bro, you'll be all right, man. Look, we got to get through it. All we got to do is study, right?
Yeah, and see that I needed that. I need the repetition, and that's just, I guess, how I work is I'm good visually. Like I can see, like if you show me, or obviously if I do it, like then I start getting the muscle memory and everything. But it kind of intertwines with dancing too. Like I have to move and I have to like make my body go through the motions so I get used to it. You know what I mean? But if I'm just like learning it from a book, and I'm a visual person, so like I need that as well, which is crazy.
I think it goes hand in hand with having stimulation.
Yeah.
So, you need to be doing it. Your mind has to be working on it as you're learning it. Because when I'm reading from a book, I have trouble understanding it sometimes, just in that same sense.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, I don't know, for an example in the field, like doing an ABG.
Oh yeah.
Meaning arterial blood gas. Okay. ABG. Yeah. So like doing an ABG, it's one of those things where you read it in the book and okay, you find where, your arteries are, right? Mm-hmm. You got the carotid. Obviously you're not going to do an ABG from the carotid artery most of the time.
Yeah. So I've gotten a lot better at it because throughout this pandemic, the patient load has been heavy. So, just about every patient with corona needs an ABG at some point in the day, we'll just say. So, learn from the book, you can get a good idea of how to do it, but understanding it in total and learn how to do it with people who have certain complications, scar tissue or a lot of fatty tissue, that comes from hands-on. Nobody can explain that into your brain. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And see, and that's what it comes with it. Like when we would do labs and, like practice on the dummy or something like the dummy arm where it would have like some type of like
It was
artificial
just tubing, scan over
juice.
some tubing with the juice. It was cool. It was Kool-Aid, dude.
Kool-Aid.
It was Kool-Aid.
Wow. Yeah. And so like that, even that is different because it's an easy stick. Like you just know you have to kind of like pretty much trigger something in the arm, and you see everybody's like indentation of where they like stuck the needle. So, and it's different in the field because then you deal with other patients that maybe that they're dehydrated, and then you try to poke them, and it's like it hugs the needle to where you can barely maneuver in there, and then you'll get like a flash of blood, and then it'll stop.
Yeah, that's
And then
fun.
you'll pull out, redirect, and then like go through again. And that's just like, going through the motions, and just think like we're slashing in there. We don't know like what we're kind of hitting because we're just trying to find the artery, and so it's just one of those things where you can't really like use a simulator, and like no matter how like much the simulator is realistic, it's never going to really like be what it is
You're right.
in the hospital, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now you add that, then you think, I have to add, where am I? Which unit am I in? Am I in the ICU? Am I in the ER where, you need that a little bit more stat, right? So now you have that. And then we were just talking, even before we hopped in here, the positions, like you're leaning over, trying to get this. It's detrimental to your body physically, right? And you're a tall guy, right?
About 6'2".
It may not look like it right now. We're adjusting, so I am the same height. Whoops. No, I'm sinking. I am not 6'2", but he is 6'2", believe it or not. And so you have to bend over, or you have to really like bring the bed up high. But does it even go that high?
It goes high enough for me to be able to just get in a little squat position and do what I got to do.
Yeah.
But, sometimes if I'm in a rush because the beds move up so fast, I'll just bend over and the beds will be lower than this table,
Dang, can you imagine that?
But if there's a chair, I'll grab a chair and sit down to do them. And, Chuck used to say, find your zen, sit down and find your zen. Those are the easiest ones.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I had to do one, not too long ago, at work. And obviously, like you said, with the pandemic going on, it's just kind of almost like an every night thing. There's a couple shifts before, pre-pandemic where maybe I would do an ABG, maybe I won't, but I'm immature. But like every night now, I have to. It's at least 5. Depending on, again, the unit, your workload, which hospital you're at, the location. But I'm doing those all the time now. So I have to find my zen. I have to get my energy. I have my ways of doing it. I'll get the gauze. I'll get the alcohol wipe. I'll put the Band-Aid behind my hand.
Oh, yeah.
Like we do in school too. And it's crazy because it stuck with me.
Yeah, I still do that to this day. With the Band-Aid, dude, that's my thing.
Behind the hand.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. See, I'll do that behind the hand, and then I'll put the gauze in between my fingers right here, right? So I'll have that there, so I don't forget it, because now, you have to get them like separately, like all your stuff. So then I'll get that. I'll get the alcohol wipe off, and then find my zen. I do the two fingers. Find the radial artery. I like to go there first, I guess. That's just the more accessible, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, if I know the patient's going to be a hard stick, I'll go straight to brachial. But for the most part, if I can avoid it, I'll just do radial to start.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so for those that do not know, radial is right by the wrist over here. So this is the one I was talking about that was like kind of the more accessible one. And then what Rob said, brachial, right? Show them right there.
By the brachial artery. Right there.
Yeah. So that's another way. I remember in school, I think, did you do it or somebody got you on the brachial artery?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I was a pincushion. Sarah tried. No, it was Ann. Ann got brachial from me. She was like the only one who got brachial on me.
See.
They all had like a challenge because my arms were a little bigger back then.
Yeah.
So it was a little harder. They all thought everybody wanted to be first to get it on me.
So what would be like your like go to? Like say you're in the ER and you need a gas like real quick, right? Where would be the most accessible? Like right away, I'm checking what artery first.
Oh, I'm definitely going brachial on either arm.
Okay. Brachial.
You know, they have a blood pressure cuff on, usually on their upper arm. So I usually go to the one that doesn't have it on. If I don't have a good pulse there, I check the other one and just go from there. I have a certain position with the towel, you know, overextend the arm in a way so that it's popping up and it holds in place when you stick. So, yeah, just definitely brachial. You know, ER is crazy. It's nonstop some days, so you got to go with what works fastest.
Right. And you found comfortability in just doing brachial.
Yeah. I've done enough of them to where I've had a few good teachers at work also.
Yeah.
You know, who showed me their methods and helped me, you know, find my own little way of doing it.
So say now switching it up a little bit, now you have this knowledge, right? You have all this knowledge of respiratory, right? And then you kind of like say that you can backtrack your life and have this knowledge while you were in Kuwait or just like deployed or wherever. You know, would that like affect, how would that change? Like you would have other perspectives? Would you be able to be in like another position, like another job? Like what exactly what'd you do, you know?
Oh, you talking about what did I do on
yeah,
the daily?
well, yeah, on the
So
daily.
I was part of a Patriot air defense unit. Our job is to basically, we have a radar that watches a certain, you know, altitude of the sky. And we protect from airborne threats. It could be planes, missiles, et cetera, et cetera. But I was the commo guy. I got into the military as a commo guy and got stuck in a Patriot unit, which was kind of different. You know, they had communications equipment, but they didn't have the equipment that I learned on in my training when I was in the AIT. So it was a challenge from there, just learning the new equipment on the fly, getting ready for deployment. Yeah, I had without saying too much, I guess, it's a antenna system mounted on the back of a truck, and it has it's powered by pneumatics, so air, and it goes about 110 feet in the air, the antennas, and I could point them at certain azimuth. I'm not even gonna try to say that right now. I can point in a certain direction that I'll be able to communicate with higher echelon and other units similar to ours. So yeah, my job was to basically keep everybody in touch on site.
Like a communications kind of thing?
Yeah.
What? So that's really important.
Yeah, it was.
Really important.
It definitely was. It definitely is still to this day.
And you were doing that in Kuwait as well, or? Wow.
Yeah, that's so the whole time I was in Oklahoma, we would periodically go to the field for 2 weeks to a month or longer at a time, and we'd have to train to be able to do this mobily. That's why the antennas are on back of trucks.
Yeah.
All the equipment's on trucks. The power equipment, the radar, it's all mobile. Even the launchers that shoot the missiles, they all have to be mobile, so we can pick up and go to another site, set up there, and do our jobs. And that way, we're a very versatile unit. It was all really intense training. I kind of miss it in a way, the brotherhood, the bonds that was built through. But I still have, the homies here with me in Vegas, a few of them.
Yeah, that's good, man. But so it was at a fast pace, right? So it was always at a fast pace, right? Doing all that stuff, right?
Yeah, it had to be. It had to be done in a certain time. There were certain steps we had to do in a safe manner, and we couldn't go out of step on it, or we'd fail our certifications. We get certified like twice a year, if I thinking correctly, and it was very tedious work. So because it all had to be done quickly, safely, and the right way. So let's just say you can fail certification if somebody doesn't have their earplug in, or if it falls out at a certain point. That's a fail for the entire crew, and we gotta pack up shop and start up again another day from step one.
Yeah. I think I remember a story you told me in respiratory school where I believe, I don't know, maybe like your sergeant or something. No idea
I know what you're talking
about anything.
Are you talking about when I lost my temper?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's another story. You see that? No. There's another one where you guys would eat, right? And you'd eat your meal, but whoever was in charge of your group.
That was basic training.
Yeah. So okay. So even just from the get-go, like they already are doing things like that.
That was like basic training. The whole job is to break you, build you up into something better, stronger, whatever the hell. So it was a tactic. We go to the defect and with our platoons, and they break the platoon. We had 60 men in the platoon. They'd break them down into little units. We had a squad leader in each unit. So when the squad leader was done eating with, like whatever, 6 guys, whoever he's over, they all had to get up too. You all sit at the same table. And if your squad leader was like me, a greedy ass who, gobbles food down with the air.
Right.
Yeah, so a lot of guys struggled with that. They couldn't keep up because they wanted to eat their cereal and do it all proper like they were raised, but not in basic training. They changed that.
Yeah, see, and I feel like if there was one thing that I would be really good at, it would be keeping up and eating that quick, because the only other person, I know 2 people in my life that eat just as quick and as much as I do, and one is sitting right across from me.
Yeah. Remember those little short breaks? It'd be like, we got 10 minutes before the next class.
We would drive across the street, get a full ass Hawaiian plate, and just slam that within 8 minutes, get back across the street, and
be ready for class.
Be ready for class, knocking out food coma.
For real, bro. Oh gosh, yo.
Oh man.
Call it those head bobbing days, man.
See? Yeah, and that's good times, man.
That's where, that's where we really got close. We used to always take lunch together. We'd walk across the street sometimes or drive around the corner. That's how we really got to, really know each other.
Yeah. See. So now going back to having your knowledge in respiratory, is there medical jobs? Obviously, being in the military, was it open?
There's the combat medic, and there's other, basic medical. There's respiratory therapy in the military also. So they have all that because they have hospitals on base, on post, and the soldiers are the ones working there as nurses, RTs, and doctors, and all that. So yeah, I actually looked into getting into respiratory prior to getting out. I wanted to reclass from comms to the medical field. But, the medical field's always backed up, and you have to wait for a slot to open and all that.
Yeah.
And I was impatient. I was young. So I got out and decided to do it when I got here to Vegas. And here we are.
And there it is, right?
Yeah.
And who knew we would be going to school, and then it'd kind of be training us for a pandemic that we didn't even know about. So it was like...
what's crazy? When I first started, Ebola was going on. It wasn't crazy here, but we had a few cases, right? It's kind of like it foreshadowed what was to come.
Ebola.
Remember that old craze back in 2014?
And 15? Then H1N1. I remember my mom giving me the vaccines at home and stuff for the swine flu. That was a thing too, man. Those are just little scares because you don't think of it all the time. There's this video on, I believe, Bill Gates that I've seen where he was talking about missiles, and we contributed money so much to those big things like missiles and nuclear weapons and everything, but we don't invest enough in what would happen in a micro, outbreak like this. You don't really prepare for it. We don't put enough money, enough studies into really diving into it, because you've seen so many cases to where it's oh, now this strain is immune to this, and now this doesn't work anymore.
Oh, I agree. Kind of with the old antibiotic thing.
Yeah.
People taking antibiotics for colds, and now we have what do they call super bugs now that are immune to almost all the strongest antibiotics we have to this day.
Yeah.
So I think we definitely need to kind of get, put foot to ass on that and get it going, because this pandemic, if it did anything, it woke a lot of people up to, this is the world. Anything could happen. We're not in some bubble where we're just always safe, because, for the most part in America, we've been pretty safe besides, there's shootings that happen and things like that.
Yeah. So one thing that I've noticed about you during this time is that, again, we were talking a little bit before, and I caught something that the way you would talk about lockdown, quarantine, whatever, people are calling it, a lot of what I'm hearing is, it took a lot away from people. is, you know, how they talk about it and, you know, how they feel. It really feels like things are being taken away from them, right? Because that's kind of like what you see on the outer layer. Like you see like, oh, these things are shutting down and like this, I can't do this anymore. I can't go to the gym, whatever. But with you, like the way you're talking about it was kind of more so like it gave you an opportunity to kind of clear your headspace a little bit, to kind of grow internally, externally, and then now you're coming out of it more inspired.
Yeah, so I'm very introverted. You know,
Yeah.
if I can keep to myself 90% of the time, I would. So the pandemic has allowed me, you know, with having a kid and all, it's allowed me to kind of just take a step back and remove myself from the world as much as I can and just kind of refigure myself out. I've had 2018 was pretty rough for me, to say the least, you know?
Yeah.
So, and it's been all go because of the career. You know, I've been working a lot on and off here and there, I have a 2-year-old now. So once the quarantine started, I realized I was able to just step back and refigure out everything for myself. And it wasn't always, I didn't look at it as a negative thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for one, I like being alone, but it allowed me to just, like I said, figure it out again, man. I took that time, and I've still taken that time to kind of just decompress from life itself, in a sense.
Right.
And refigure out where I want to come out, you know, out of the bubble, out of the hole, how I want to come out of it.
Yeah. And I know I started to think after hearing, you know, your perspective, your view on that and what you took away and like how you're going about it, is that I'm also, you know, pretty introverted, which comes to a shocker to some people, but I see like myself as like good in social situations, and it's good for me to like communicate with people, and I know how, you know, and even being a teacher, like I meet so many people. I have to talk to parents, I have to talk to students, I have to talk to, you know, other dancers, whatever, anything, right? So I have to like expose myself a lot. So I'm really good at the situations, but also I feel like I find my energy when I'm at home, when I'm in my own space, you know, like when I'm traveling, you know, I do that before quarantine, before March. I was traveling a lot. I do that for my job as well. You know, like I go around and teach. And so like, but when I'm out, I miss my room, you know, I miss my space, and I'm like, man, it's cool. I'm in this hotel, you know, it's paid for, like they're flying me out, they're, you know, driving me to their studio, whatever it be, it's really nice, you know, and that's all a blessing. But I miss my bed, I miss my space, and I miss like, that's where it gives me like all my thoughts. And yes, I have to break out of the norm and travel for me to be rejuvenated, but I come back from everything that I learned from, and then I kind of hone in my own space, and then that's where I kind of flourish, I feel like, with the ideas, and then I'll hit people up, I'll contact you and or something like that. So in a way, so introverts, I don't know, like maybe we just haven't asked enough, but maybe introverts are actually benefiting from not being around people so much. I don't know if that's a thing, you know?
Yeah, well, to those who are able to kind of just, you know, turn themselves off from society, you know, if you have I'm just saying, if you're blessed enough to be able to take that time to yourself, if you're very introverted like myself, it can offer like awakenings to certain issues, or just it can awaken a certain part of you that you didn't know existed in you anymore.
I agree with that.
Like, I got back into drawing, you know, I used to do that when I was a kid back in my room. Something I really enjoyed doing, and I realized I enjoy it to this day, but I hadn't done it, you know, I guess I let life get ahead of me, and I let go of a lot of hobbies, and I'm starting to I'm getting back into those hobbies that I let go long ago, I guess.
Yeah, and so, I mean, again, when we find our energy being away from people, and, you know, it's taken away, and I noticed, like, it did, and you mentioned this as well, it did like kind of force you to be by yourself, whether you liked it or not. Because I mean, like, just because you're introverted, it doesn't mean like every single time you want to be inside. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it comes and goes.
Yeah, right. So it's not like 100%, but you know, when you cut that off, at first it was great. Like I would always talk about in conversations like to the extremes and saying like if I was the only person on Earth for about a month, I think I could do it. I would bump into struggles and I'd be like, oh, it'd be nice to like maybe have somebody, or maybe on like the second week it would be old by then.
I mean, do I have internet still or not?
Yeah, right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like we still have like, amenities and whatever. It's just the people on Earth are gone. It's just you, but like, I mean, I've seen The Last Man on Earth on Hulu. It's just, that comedy show. He was just by himself, or what he thought was, and he was doing all these crazy things and everything that he wanted. And I'd be like, I could do that. I could do that for a month. You know what I mean?
I feel like I can entertain myself for about a month or so with everything, like if I had access to go do something crazy that I wouldn't be, have the access to do with everybody around, for sure, I would like knock a lot off my bucket list.
Yeah.
For sure.
So yeah, I mean, then now going to being introverted and finding your energy and like coming out actually feeling like you obtained a thing or two or three or four, like that's less heard of than people saying like this kind of takes something away from me, and like I feel maybe like depressed or like sad, and like it's taking so much from me that I feel like when is it gonna go back to normal? When? You know what I mean? And it's like, but what is like normal now? You know what I mean? Because now you endured and like experienced like those things. Now can you like really go back to what we were used to, or could it be like building off of it and like moving forward?
I feel like we're constantly moving forward, society. Kind of like we can't go back to lifestyle like it was in the 90s, you know what I'm saying? Where kids go out and play all day, unsupervised at a young age. That, that's unheard of nowadays because there's so much danger out there, that we're aware of now because of the internet and being able to communicate with people far from us. But we're just constantly evolving, and it is what it is. Whatever we come out of this pandemic, I think it'll be great. I feel like a lot of people, we're all working towards better in the world now, and we've opened our eyes, and I think it'll be awesome.
So, have you experienced anything? Speaking about the pandemic, have you experienced anything, or like what was one of the craziest things that happened to you as a respiratory therapist to this date?
Let's see. I mean, I've worked in ICU a lot recently, so I've seen pretty sick, to say the least, patients. Let's just say projectile. Projectile. It was a patient with a trach patient who had projectile sputum from the trach. Yeah. I'm talking about this flew like 6 feet across the room.
Oh.
And he was just gone. I suctioned him once, and it got his gag reflex going. He coughed it all out, and I just stood back trying not to look. I was a little horrified, bro.
For all of our nurses that view this and that are disgusted of sputum, you got to describe to us what it looked like when it spat out 6 feet. Was it brown? I don't want to get too vulgar because was it slimy?
Nah, this was like a dull greenish color. He was it was an ISO patient, so and it smelled bad too. But so you ever seen a water gun? Let's just say a water gun that's kind of running out of water and it's kind of shooting little droplets,
little sprinkles.
Yeah. We'll just go with that, but on steroids.
Oh man, no! And you said it smelled.
Yeah, so I had PPE on, I had a mask on, or whatever, but you could still smell it if it's bad enough.
Wow.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's just part of it. We knew what we were getting into.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we definitely got like the upper side of things.
Sputum over poop?
Yeah, see, but that's what I'm saying. Like some people are okay with that. And there's something about like wiping down there, like poop, and I could pick up my dog's poop, but but
you can't wipe another human
until the day comes that I have a kid, obviously, but I mean, no rush, big no rush. So So yeah, I mean, that's it. I can't deal with that lower area. I can do the top part. I can do suction. Like it's negative force, like you're using like the suction.
It's
so
usually a closed system, so
it's usually a closed system, yeah. But if not, like you have the little yonker, like, that they use at the dentist's office too, and then, able to suction and everything. But it's not perfect because it could still splatter. So that's why you wear PPE. That's
why you wear PPE.
That's why you wear PPE. And oh man, it was crazy when there were shortages of it too.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, I recall wearing a trash bag as a gown.
Oh, no.
Multiple times.
The Glad bags.
Yeah.
Busting out the Glad bags. No. That was scary though, because when it first happened, it was like, oh, what are we gonna do? Like now, I had like friends like messaging me on Instagram and like, what can we do? And then you had like other companies like making masks, and then they would like get in this whole spiel where they were like, well, that's not medical grade. Like, why are they making these face masks for us? That's, kind gesture, but it's not medical grade. And so they would be in that.
Yeah. So when it all started, we weren't exactly sure how to handle it, especially at where I work.
Yep.
So there was at one point we couldn't wear masks in the hallway type stuff. Before they allowed us to bring masks from home and wear them all the time, having us wear them all the time. There was points where we couldn't wear them in the hallway, but some people were confused with the rules and all that. So that added to the pressure of the increased patient load, the increased severity of the patients that are sick and everything. It just added to the overall challenge of handling the pandemic and everything.
Yeah. Now we're wearing them every minute.
Yeah, I mean, since then we've gotten it together, and we actually, at both of the places I work, we haven't had any issues with PPE since. Everything's been Johnny on the spot for the most part.
Yeah, and then you just kind of go with it.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
We just got to go with it.
That's what it is, like every day, like, or every time you go in. Just kind of go with it and adapt.
It becomes the new norm,
Yeah. See, that's what I was talking about. Like we're going forward with, and then they call it the new norm. And so it's never like, when are we going to go back? Because, and then they keep saying, go back. And then you got to really like think about like what you're saying, we're not going to go back. You know what I mean?
I mean, people are obsessed with innovation. I mean, we get brand new cell phones every year, brand new cars. Everything updates every year. That's just, who we are as a civilization. I feel like is always forward, no matter what's happening, what's going on. I mean, there's groups who, more or less want to keep things stagnant and don't like change. But undoubtedly, we've been moving forward for the past, my 29 years on this earth, from what I've seen.
And you see that, like tying into that, going like, there's always innovation, always making, right? Always got to do it, right?
Mm-hmm. Bigger, faster, stronger, better, longer.
Yeah. And I don't know like how long the term has been like around by this time, but I've been hearing it like a lot. And then I started thinking I heard this a couple of years ago, but I've been hearing about it a lot, especially now. But, they call it hustle culture, right? And from my understanding, because it's been going on for however long, they just were able to throw a term to it. But like reading into it, I'm like, okay, like I feel like I've kind of fallen into that category at some point. But from what I'm reading, it's about having this continuous like, workload and like always feeling like you have to hustle, you have to work hard, and you have to keep working at something all the time, like every day, and if you're not, and especially with social media, like I was kind of thinking earlier and talking about earlier, is that you have social media and then you heighten it a little bit because you look at people's stories, you look at what they're doing, and not 9 times out of 10, people are posting their highlights, right? What they want you to see, right? So you paint this image of them, and then you think that this is the kind of person they are, but that's just the image that they're painting it to be, because they're curating it the way they want you to see it. So, that kind of ties into the hustle culture, and then, it heightens more because then it gets people that have like anxiety issues, and then they're like, oh, I feel like I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, there's definitely that whole, complex with it. I know some people are built that way who can, for the more or less keep their foot on the gas nonstop. But not everybody's built like that. I think you just got to understand who you are and how you work and the best way you get productivity out of yourself. Some people need, to take a breather to kind of decompress and take everything in and understand, where they want to go or what they're trying to do exactly. And some people, they're at it 100%, hustle nonstop all day, every day. I've gotten caught up in seeing that, through stories and kind of feeling like, shit, I'm definitely not doing nearly as much as I can. Or hell, I've even compared myself to my younger self before, I was a dad, when I had a lot more time to just do exactly what I want, hitting the gym or working continuous shifts nonstop. But I mean, it can be toxic if you let it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just think people have to be careful with how they approach.
Right. And it's hard because, people are looking at their phone all the time. You know what I mean? And if you look at I'm afraid to look at my analytics and stuff on my phone where it shows you how long you've been spending on this app. I feel like I've been spending literally at least half the day. And it's dude, I don't want to do that. I don't want to drown myself too much into it. I've been doing things little things now, kind of breaking the habit of just even grabbing the phone in the morning. When I first wake up, I'm I don't grab the phone right away. I'm whoop, before you grab the phone right away to check, maybe I'll check the time. Right. But I'll go brush my teeth. I'll do, I'll go upstairs, make some coffee, something, smell the roses, do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I try to leave my phone upstairs in the bedroom if I can when I wake up. It doesn't always happen, but for the most part, because I get in the habit of, in between watching a basketball game, there's a time I'll call it, I automatically reach for the phone and I want to see, check statuses. And
Right.
But I've been trying to break that habit heavily.
Yeah. And, the phone, what we have, it's a beautiful tool. It's done so much great, for so many things,
Mm-hmm.
And it's been able to connect people, been able to spread news, everything it can be in positive. It's a double-edged sword. I say this all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
And so, fitting in those break times, you were saying, you grab the phone, you look for a little bit, maybe you see 2, 3, 4 stories. And that's when you start looking at people. And then maybe one person's oh, here, I'm traveling over here. It's oh, okay, they're doing that. Mm-hmm. Maybe I don't like to travel so much, but okay, they're doing that. Or, oh, I did this and I achieved this. And, oh, I'm in this movie. And it's oh. Maybe I should be doing something, but then that's it starts that cycle, and then you keep going because even myself, I come to admit it that I would get into things where I would always have to work and everything, and feel I had to do something, and I felt I was behind, and I felt then you would compare maybe ages, and it's this one is 5 years old and is here, and then I'm here, but then you think everybody has different chapters in their lives, and they did different things, so it's you're really just kind of an original form of yourself and how you created and yourself throughout your life. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I definitely understand that, and I don't think it's completely a bad thing.
Yeah.
Having that motivational kick in the ass when you see somebody doing something that inspires you. It's not a bad thing as long as you just don't let it get you down, You can't knock yourself for not doing or being in a certain position like someone else. Like you said, everybody has trials and tribulations in their life, and you'll accomplish and do things at a different speed than others, but it's your life,
Yeah, man.
You can't take it from somebody else and get down on yourself for it.
Yeah. That's cool, man. And again, really, really glad to have gotten you in,
Mm-hmm.
Into the studio, and you have so much knowledge, dude. Bringing you in for the hour, the 50 minutes that we could bring you in for, you can keep going and going. I learn from you, even in school, learn from you, just by talking again, with math and everything, that's crazy, dude. And just all your stories and, some of those, even the personal ones, we're that close. We have, we're that close,
We got through school together for a reason.
Yeah, man.
We both went through our crap at certain times and had to.
Relationships.
Oh boy, let's not even get.
That's funny, man. It's kind of a older brother kind of sense, for me, you know what I mean? And so it's cool, man. And
yeah, it's definitely been awesome being here. Love the setup. Love the entire studio,
Thanks,
man.
man.
Like,
Thanks, man.
It's been awesome being here, and I'm glad I got out to do this with you.
Yeah, man. So you're a great father, dude.
Thank you, dude.
To JD.
JD, bro.
Speaking of JD, yeah, man. We'll let you go. You got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Got to get out of here. This man's a father, guys.
Ugh.
Congrats on this guy.
Yes, indeed.
He's a
Thank
dad, man. He's a dad. Yeah, man.
All right.
Cool, bro. Thanks, man.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah. I looked at the time and I was like, okay.
I didn't even know.
I know. I gotta. No, that's why I kept looking at my phone. I'm like, okay, no, we gotta get